Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of our podcast, Impact Plus. So this is episode 1, Kevin.
Yeah, love it.
Is this amazing?
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have a cool tagline?
I don't know. We're trying to figure out tagline. Maybe you guys can help us, but this podcast is all about digging deeper into biblical insight and how we can really live out the faith in a practical way. Yeah. You know, some areas where we can't get into or have the time for from the messages. We'll be digging a little bit more deeper into Moses' story, and we'll be talking some other times about our kingdom form and how we can live more in alignment with God.
I love that. Yeah. So this sounds great, and we've been hanging out in Moses for a while here, so to be able to take that a little deeper sounds exciting.
Yeah, and so in this first episode of Impact Plus, there's a story in our sermon series with Moses that we really jumped over that I think is a really important story that is so impactful. And that's a story where Moses interacts with his father-in-law, Jethro. I mean, think about your in-laws, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your relationship like?
Oh, I love my in-laws.
I'm glad to say, because they're listening right now.
They're fantastic.
That's right. My in-laws are amazing.
There you go.
I mean, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I enjoy them. That's why we moved here to Pittsburgh, by the way.
That is true. We moved here. That's important. And you know, in-laws are important, and they can really be helpful. And Moses' father-in-law was an extremely big help and support for him. And we know that he really wasn't with Moses during the whole journey in the wilderness, but towards the beginning of Moses and the Israelites in the wilderness, we see this encounter where Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, comes and meets with them and catches up with them. It's like a family reunion. But during that time, in Exodus 18, they have a unique encounter because Moses' father-in-law takes time to observe what's going on with Moses.
Yeah, and that sounds like something a father-in-law would love doing, is like watching and observing how you do things, and of course being able to give some good advice.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
that too as well.
And I think we fear that sometimes. We fear sometimes allowing people in and providing the advice, and we tune people out.
Yeah.
Because I think we get so focused on the here and now or what we need to get accomplished. It's hard sometimes for us just to step back and really see and gain some wisdom. And that's why sometimes those outside voices are very important.
Yeah, I do think sometimes too it's also that you want, especially I would think as a son-in-law to a father-in-law, you want them to think that you're competent and capable and can do a lot. And so anytime they give advice, it would be almost like you having to admit you have an area of growth that you want them to think you're good at. So there could be a level of that.
Oh, that's a really good point. I see that a lot in my life. It's like, I want this person to love me or like me better, so I'm doing these things to prove them or to make it seem like I have it all together. You know, and we sometimes say here at Impact, it's okay to not be okay, right? It's okay to just to acknowledge, I don't always have it all together or figured out.
But we hope you don't stay there.
Exactly.
We hope it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to never be okay kind of mentality. We want to help people walk through. It's okay where you are, but how do we walk through that?
That's a great point. And so I think that's an encouragement for all of us, because I know I struggle with that a lot, of really being open to the reality that, hey, maybe not everything I'm doing is really healthy or productive and efficient. And I think in all aspects of our lives, we're constantly looking for those ways that we can be more productive, more effective, and more efficient. And I think it's in our relationships, in our work, and just in our day-to-day operations.
Yeah, it's kind of that question asking daily, am I willing to learn and grow and see what you have got? I want to be open to whatever it is, God, you want to show me and teach me.
That's a good point. Because when you're so into the weeds of all the demands of your life, the demands of your day-to-day, whether it's cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, at work, in the community, wherever it may be, we get so into the weeds that we sometimes don't even realize we could be doing things so much more healthier and effective and efficient.
Yeah, so with that, what things did Jethro have to say to Moses?
I think it's a great question there. And as you look at the story, this story of Jethro and Moses is in Exodus chapter 18. And we see this story play out as Jethro is just watching Moses kind of leading the people. And what was going on at this time is Moses was leading the people, and he was getting so caught up in the weeds. And as you can imagine, with all these thousands upon thousands of people, there were some personality issues, some struggles, some conflicts. Let's just be honest. We all run into those in our homes, in our community, everything else. And every person, from small conflicts, hey, Charlie stepped on my toe, all the way to the big ones, every single one was coming to Moses and saying, help us out. We can't figure this out on our own. And you can imagine that was overwhelming. So you can imagine in your life, whether it's with your kids, your calendar, activities, or things at work, how easily we get overwhelmed with life and with everything else. And here with Moses, we see that happening, and he couldn't even see how overwhelmed he was. But in Exodus chapter 18, verses 17, we see then Jethro intercede. And I love this. Just listen to this. Jethro says, what you're doing is not good, Moses. You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy and you can't do it alone. I mean, what great advice. Life, we can't do all the things we have to do and accomplish on our own. And when we try to do everything on our own, what Jethro's, his wisdom is, we wear ourselves out. And not only do we wear ourselves out, we wear out everybody around us.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is that God did not design us to live life alone. In fact, he's given, everyone has different gifts, different personalities, different passions, different desires, and that's where we come together as the body of Christ to complete. There is no super Christian that has every single gift, every single ability, everything that they can do. And so with that, God didn't even design us to do it alone in the first place.
That's so true, Kevin. And so I think we have to see ourselves more in a team environment. At church, in our home with our families, in the community, at work, what does that look like? And I think this is some great wisdom of how do we delegate, or you had a better word for that.
Yeah, I stopped using the word delegate for a while because what I found was often when we use the word delegate, what we do is it's like the word dump. We dump something on people. It's kind of like, here, I'm going to delegate this to you. Now you just take care of it. I don't have to think about it. It's not my responsibility anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really what delegation of what Jethro here and Moses was talking about. It's that idea. I love the word empowerment.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, I'm going to empower you by giving you all the resources and things you need to accomplish it, but I'm also going to be there for you and with you to support you in the process.
Yeah, and so what Jethro really tells Moses is to empower people around him. You have other capable people to get the job done. How are you empowering them? And here's the beautiful thing. When we empower those people around us, we help raise up people to do even more. I mean, think about this in different angles and environments in your life. Let's start at home. Parents. If we do everything in our home for our kids, we don't empower them to do the things on their own. Right? Yeah. Or if we're at work and we're always complaining that no one's helped me out, how are you empowering other people around you to complete the tasks?
Yeah, but that's tricky because then we have to decipher and know what are the things that I should be doing versus what are the things that I should empower others to do. And sometimes that gets a little bit muddy in trying to figure that out. And we think, well, it's just faster if I do it, or if it's just easier if I do it. How do you walk through that tension? What did Moses and Jethro say about that?
I think that's really important. If you read the rest of the passage there, you can see how Moses kind of lined that all out. Jethro lined that all out for Moses. First, he helped Moses to identify what tasks do you need to be a part of. You don't need to be in the weeds of everything, but here's the level, high level issues. So when it kind of goes through these chains and they can't handle it, the other people that you put in charge of this, if it goes to this problem, they can't do it, then it comes to you. So I think the lesson there for us is really identify what are our priorities and our capabilities. And so I think that's really critical on us knowing, first of all, what's my priority? What's the main objective that I have to accomplish? Whether it's at home, at work, in my faith, in the community, whatever environment it is. And then from there, what are my capabilities? Well, I can't do everything, so how can I empower other people around so that I can accomplish my capabilities even more effectively?
Yeah, and I think for us, it's sometimes it's not always that we know others can do it. It's like we almost just want to do it. part of it can even be that ego or that arrogance of, I want the credit for this.
Ooh.
That's where it gets challenging too. Or I want to do this because I want people to notice that I did something or I've done it. And so that can creep in our heart sometimes. It keeps us from even empowering others.
That's a great point, a great angle to this too, because we learn in the scriptures that pride is the root of all evil, right? Pride is what develops all sin. And I think we just need to be honest, right? Every one of us struggles with pride in some way. And when we deny that, we allow pride to fester and grow. But when we can get to a place in humility and acknowledge our pride issues, however that may be developed, then we can deal with it. And we need to overcome our pride so that we can say, I can't do all this. And you know what? It's okay if somebody else does it, and it's okay if somebody else sometimes get the recognition for doing it.
Yeah, but that's the challenge. And so for us to learn, there are some very healthy, practical reasons why it's better for us to do that. And so as we kind of walk through here, why is it practical? But it's also a spiritual concept. It's not just practical.
Absolutely.
It's not just, hey, this is something that we can accomplish. So as we're walking through that tension, how do we navigate? How did Moses navigate that tension of even, hey, I want to make sure that Jethro, that it is my father-in-law's telling me what I should do, and I want him to know I'm doing a great job and I can do it. But then, how do we manage that tension to trust others too in that process?
Yeah, I think that's always the challenge, because first, the Bible also does say pride goes before the fall, right? And I don't think we always understand that or truly examine the consequences of that if we don't deal with our pride will deal with us, right? And it will kind of knock us down. And so many times when I read the Bible, I would love just to get a time machine, go back there, because there's so much. These are real people with real emotions, so it doesn't really describe all of Moses' emotions. Did he get a little flustered? Did he get a little defensive? I don't know, but we do know this. After Jethro shared all this practical insight to Moses, verse 24 of Exodus 18, it simply says, Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. That defines humility. So we can say Moses exemplified humility in this moment. Yeah. And so I think that's the critical thing, is there needs to be, how do we live this out biblically and practically, is we need to just slow down our activity and slow down our minds to a place where we can just listen.
Yeah.
And then act out on it.
Yeah.
With that wisdom.
Yeah, and I mean that idea of really being willing to say, hey, I know that things can be more effective and better, and it's keeping the mindset on the big picture, the big purpose, the big reason, rather than just the individual. And that's where we can get caught up so easily, and the practical can mess us up, is because I'm so focused on what I'm doing in my little lane that I forget that the way we impact so many other people is greater when we work together.
Absolutely.
And accomplish so much more, and it keeps the purpose and the vision of what we're trying to accomplish clear and forward. So
yeah, and so that's a great point, because in the New Testament we hear so often from Jesus and Paul's writings of the importance of unity and how we are to build each other up, right? And I see the foundation of those teachings happening right here. Because before this moment, Moses was a doer, a do-it-all. And too often, I think we live in our lives and in our faith as doers, just trying to do everything, versus builders, building others up around us.
Hey, I got a question. So, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who that's their lane. They're the doers and they're doing it all. There's also the other person who never wants to really do it, always wants to throw it off on people. And I think this speaks to that too. I think
Absolutely.
It's just trying to bring it the other's way in. That what is it? What do you think that you can learn from if you're maybe leaning into that?
No, I think that's a great question, because look at Moses' example here. This did not give him permission or the ability to just say, everybody do it, I'm going on vacation. Or I'm just going to sit over here and hang out and enjoy the ride, and you guys all do the work.
Yeah.
don't miss the point that he did this so that he can be more effective in his primary role. And so I think it's important that we all examine, number one, what is our role and what is our responsibility? And I think so often we miss that because oftentimes we don't view what we are doing in that way. We either view it through the lens of, I'm the authority, I'm going to do it my way, right? Or in some other way, some other selfish, prideful way. But we always have to examine everything through the lens of what is my role and what's my responsibility, and how can I be more effective. So Moses did these things so that it would be a springboard to his effectiveness in what his role and responsibilities are.
And I think another layer to that is, what are things that I can empower others to do that's going to allow them to feel valued and find purpose and also contribute to it, that does one offload it, but it's also a way to really help others and encourage others. And really it's not about us, and it's really never been about us in the first place. So how do you walk through that process of seeing what this practical things we can learn from Jethro actually helps other people in that process? Like, how do we help others in this rather than just offload us and make our life easier? What's the benefit?
Yeah, I think that's
of others?
the empowering side of things, and I think that's sometimes a case by case basis. But I think you got to really take time to know the person and to care for the person. That I think Paul really deals with this a lot in Ephesians, where he talks about building each other up, right, and pouring into them. And I think this is not just dumping on other people, right? Or I expect you to do this. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what my expectation is. But it's how do you come alongside them?
Yeah.
How do you walk with them? And that, I don't think Moses just kind of dumped it. I think he probably empowered them and walked with them and helped them to grow.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think there is a point where at first, when you're trying to empower someone, it's easy to look and see how we can actually possibly do something better or more efficiently, or we think, hey, this is good. But you know what? Over time, if someone can really specialize in that or get better, they actually can do it oftentimes better than us. Then we could do it ourselves if we give them time to learn and grow and develop that.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, I really love journeying a little bit deeper, and this
Yeah.
just gives you some quick insight on some other stories in the life of Moses. And I really encourage you all to take some time to go into Exodus chapter 18 and read the story for yourself and see what God might be speaking to you, or words of wisdom that you have. I'd love to hear from you and hear your insights, or what questions you may have that you'd like us to answer even further. Because what's beautiful about the Bible, it's God's story giving to us, being written through people. How God's working and growing people and developing his story through them. It's messy, but it's beautiful because it's God at work.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it. Hey, everybody, we hope to see you next time as we continue this podcast, Impact Plus, as we dig deeper into the Word and what that means for us in our everyday life. Hope to see you there on the next podcast. Hope you have a great week. God bless.
God bless.